December 31st. 2017 is just about finished. So let's look back at what we did this year and maybe look forward to some of the things we have coming up next year. There were 3 goals in 2017. The first was to ride in a race. I had never done a road race before. I had never done a race of any kind on a bike before. So I accomplished that back in January when I did the very first Crockett Road Race. I wrote about my experience after that. I got dropped, which is probably something that happens to most first-time racers, but it was a great experience. So goal number 1, check. The second thing I wanted to do this year was, and this was sort of an arbitrary number, but I wanted to raise my watts per kilogram, which is power to weight ratio, to 3.83 for my FTP. And I came pretty close to that on my last FTP test just a few days ago. Ended up at 3.76, which was my highest yet. For some people that won't sound like a lot, for some people it sounds like a lot, and for some people it doesn't mean anything. Either way, I made a lot of improvement. I lost a lot of weight. I added a lot of power. Didn't quite reach the objective, but I'm really happy with the result. Some people set resolutions for the new year. To me, a resolution is something you're resolved to do. It's an all or nothing. It's a pass-fail. I like to call them goals. I don't know if that's just a mental trick I play with myself, but a goal is something to me that you work toward, and whether or not you achieve it is beside the point. It's did you follow through on the commitment to that goal? And I barely missed that goal, so while I technically didn't achieve it, I'm really happy with the result. So I'll give that one kind of a half check. The third goal that I had for 2017 was to finish in the top 2/3 of a race. So obviously that was contingent upon my achieving the first goal, which was actually to be in a race. And I didn't pull that one off until, actually I pulled that off a few times, but my second road race I was also dropped. My third race was a time trial where I finished 4th in a teeny tiny field, so kind of counts. And then I also finished 4th in the second Crockett Road Race, which happened later in July. It was over 100 degrees when we rode that one. And so I ultimately moved my goal, kind of moved the target during the year, and I wanted to finish in the top 2/3 during the Chapel Hill Road Race after I achieved it. Kind of blew that one up myself by making some questionable decisions during the race. But anyways, I achieved the goal. So 2.5 out of 3 is not too bad for 2017. Some other things from 2017 that weren't goals or necessarily achievements, but that I would consider highlights from my year, things that I enjoyed or considered especially memorable, and there's a million of them. There's a lot of them. But the ones that really stand out, just looking at some numbers, I rode 7,700 miles in 2017, which I didn't have a mileage goal, but that's 2,700 miles more than I rode in the previous year. So, I mean, that's over a 50% improvement. That's a lot. That's pretty good. I spent 400 hours on the bike, 403 hours and 30-some minutes to be precise, which didn't really seem like a whole lot. That's about the number I wanted to hit for the year, but when I think about that, 400 hours, that's 10 40-hour work weeks. That's like if I just took off for 2.5 months and said, I'm going to ride my bike for 8 hours a day, every day of the work week for 2.5 months. That's a lot. That is a lot. Other highlights. I did my first BPM S150 ride from Houston to Austin. One of my favorite rides of the year, I rode my car to Austin, dropped my car off, rode back to Houston in one day, into the wind too, which was awful, and then rode the MS150 2 days later. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the event. I enjoyed the solo adventure coming from Austin to Houston by myself. Just really a neat first-time experience and a neat experience for any moment in my cycling career. I also did the SB250, which is a lesser-known event, a smaller event. Everything's a smaller event than the BPM S150, but the SB250, which is from McAllen to San Antonio over two days, 250 miles. Went with a lot of friends, did that for the first time. That was really hot, and that was definitely a challenge because of the heat, because of the distance, and that was just something very cool to do and to accomplish. a non, really doesn't have anything to do with the event. So it's a non-event memory that I really enjoyed. Being able to go to Big Dam Bridge, the ride in Arkansas, and take Lainey with me, and we kind of made a vacation weekend out of it. That's the first time we've done anything like that with me on a bike. Being able to spend that with her while I'm doing an event that I really enjoy, and then also have kind of a vacation with her, that was just a totally wonderful experience in 2017. Pedal Pros. I started doing these videos and started writing for Pedal Pros. That happened in 2017. And it wasn't all good stuff. You know, a lot of things happened off the bike that weren't great. Both my dogs, I lost both my pugs this year. If you know anything about me, or if you've watched any of my videos or read anything I've written before, that wasn't easy to deal with. I lost one in June and one in November. It's the first time in 20 years, basically, I haven't had one of those two with me. That was tough. One of the I'd say a friend in the club, Pete Radowick, we lost him this year. That was difficult to deal with. One of the people who inspired me to start Pedal Pros. So that was hard to deal with. You know, in a cycling club as large as ours, it's probably not terribly unusual to lose somebody once a year or every other year. But when it's somebody you know, that's not good. So there were great things. There were difficult things. But that's every year. That's life. You have ups and you have downs. All in all, I'm really happy with this year. I got my feet in the water on racing. I've gotten stronger. I've gotten healthier. I've gotten happier. So let's talk about next year. I try to set 3 goals every year. So here are my 3 goals for 2018. First goal, and this is sort of subjective, so I don't know how I'm going to measure this, but I really want to involve my family more with cycling, more with these videos, more with everything that I do. I mean, we talked about earlier, I spent 400 hours on the bike. Those are all hours where I'm not with my wife or my son. That's in addition to work. That's a lot. And so whether it's just making a family picnic out of a crit, you know, it's a picnic where I just happen to be riding a bike and they can watch, or taking them on more trips and making more family weekends out of it. I really want to make an effort to do more of that this year. I really need my family to be more a part of my life. I don't need my cycling to be a more part of their life. It's already a huge part of their life. I don't need them to be part of my cycling life. I just need to be with my family more. And that's not forcing them to come to cycling events. That's finding a way to make it enjoyable for us as a family to participate together. And that's a big goal this year. I haven't really fleshed out how we're going to do that yet. I have some ideas for some videos. I have some ideas for some of the events and trips this year we're going to take. But that's a goal. And, you know, next year, December 31st, let's see if I achieve that goal. Goal number 2. And I don't like to make results-oriented goals, especially one like this, because some of it's beyond my control, but I need to set a bar somewhere. And I want to finish in the top 10 in the Masters 35 Plus category in 2018. And I think that that's a reasonable goal to set, even though it's subjective, because to finish in the top 10 over the course of an entire season requires dedication, consistency, and continued work. And I think that if I can continue to put all of those things towards that goal, that the result will happen as a consequence of me doing those things. It's not that I'm going to be able to brute force that result. There are things that are going to happen in races that I can't control. I'm still so inexperienced. I could be the strongest rider in a road race and lose pretty easily by 30 places. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. But I think that's a reasonable goal to set for myself, because it requires me to do a lot of work to reach it. And I'll be able to measure whether or not, am I executing the training plan? Am I showing up to the events that I should be showing up to? Am I putting in the effort to make this happen? And those are all things I can actually measure independently of the result on that goal. But goal number 2, finish in the top 10 in the Texpra 35 Plus category, Texas Cup, for the entire season. That's a big one. The third goal, I don't know. I don't have a third goal yet. I probably need to talk to my coach, and we can talk about some reasonable goals. I don't know. Maybe you guys have some suggestions. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I don't know what to set for my third goal. I'm drawing a blank, so I don't have a third cycling goal yet. We're going to set that one as to be continued. Lastly, one other thing I want to do in 2018 is I want to make more content for Pedal Pros. I really want to make more videos. I need to get the drone out more often. I need to spend more time producing content. You know, I ride the bike so much, there's really no reason I shouldn't be riding and filming more stuff. Sometimes I just get lazy. That really happened at the end of this year. I kind of stopped riding and doing videos, and I definitely felt that I need to be able to do that. It's something that I enjoy, and I miss it when I don't do that. So I'd like to try and put out more content this coming year. I know this is a long video of me just talking a whole bunch about stuff, and I know that's not the most exciting thing, but that's a look back at what I did this year. It's a hope and some goals for what I can do next year. I hope you'll stay with me, subscribe to my channel, and continue along on the adventure with me. See you guys in 2018. Have a happy new year. Ride on.